It wasn't just one event that reduced the number of black Europeans to such low levels, it was the compounding effect of multiple trends: the Reconquista, the Inquisition, the forced exodus, and the fleeing of the Jacobites. After the invasion of the Iberian Peninsula by the predominantly black Moors, Europe rebelled against Islam, the new religion brought in by the Africans and the Arabs, the Reconquista. And so, from the 8th century to the 15th century, war and cultural reversal had become the trend. And it is during this period that the brutal inquisitions took place. Their aim was to root out and kill Jews or Protestant converts. During this period, being suspected of being a Jew or a Protestant would be enough to get someone executed. And it is important here to note that in an effort to integrate into European society during the Reconquista, many previously Muslim blacks had converted to Judaism and the Protestant faith, both religions that they found more conservative and thus more compatible with their old Islamic faith. The Spanish Inquisition, established in 1478, was aimed at consolidating the Catholic Church's power by targeting heretics, among whom were conversos, Jews who had converted to Christianity, and Moriscos, Muslims who had been baptized as Christians. The Inquisition employed brutal methods, including torture, to extract confessions and enforce orthodoxy within the Spanish kingdom. During this period, many Jews declared their conversion to Christianity to escape persecution, but these conversos remained targets of suspicion and violence, leading to widespread fear and eventual expulsion. In 1492, the Catholic monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella issued an edict that forced Jews to either convert to Christianity or leave Spain. This expulsion had a catastrophic impact on the Jewish community, stripping many of their possessions and forcing them into exile. Many of these Jews were Moors that had converted to Judaism to escape persecution. The Inquisition also targeted the Moriscos, baptized Muslims, who were expelled in the early 17th century, further emphasizing the Inquisition's role in religious and ethnic cleansing. But many of the blacks from Ireland to Spain chose exile to the new land, especially islands such as Jamaica. In the book Origin of the Anglo-Saxon Race, the author clearly shows that from the late 8th century, before the arrival of the Vikings whom they fought, a great majority of the inhabitants of Scotland and Ireland were black. And they are clearly spoken about in historical descriptions, but also in their names: Black, Blackman, Blackman, Blake, Suard, from Swarthy, Stuart, Seward, and others. It is these black people who centuries later, though in fewer numbers, became the Jacobites, the supporters of the Black King James, also known as Jacobus. These Jacobites were exported en masse to the new land in the Americas, as it shows here in the book Jacobites' Gleanings, the Transportation in 1745 by J. Macbeth Forbes. It is in short a passenger manifest of the Jacobites that were taken to Antigua. And when we say they were taken, it means they were forced into exile to the islands. What is interesting here is that both their names and their physical description are given, and as you can see, the great majority are black. William Blake, black curly hair. Douglas Campbell, brown complexion. Remember that Dougal and Doug from Old English means black. So many who carry that name come from old black families. Alex Catanach, black, ruddy, and healthy. And it's not just the top of the list, further down John Kennedy, black. Angus McIntosh, black, very strong. And the list goes on. Although the vast majority of black people who arrived in America came directly from Africa, European blacks, smaller in number comparatively, were forced or chose exile over persecution to the new land. And it is these forces, Reconquista, Inquisition, forced exile, that decimated the large number of blacks in Europe, and their traces were then systematically removed from all icons and representation of influence, creating an illusion of an exclusively European medieval history. One where the Afro-descendant can no longer see himself or herself in the nobility of days past. But equally as damaging, they have created a circle of people who have been born into this lie, have never had the time nor the courage to question it, and who now use it as a justification for ethnic supremacy. And yet, as history shows us, nothing could be further from the truth, and that once again, As they did in 9500 BC when the black Natufians shared the secret of agriculture with all, as they did in from 3000 BC to 500 BC when they taught the Greeks everything they know, the Africans, this time wearing turbans, gave to the struggling Europeans the seeds of civilization once more.